how you do it, man.
It used to be so much harder because my microphone had a small stand that actually sat on the desk, and so it was like right in front of me, right in front of my keyboard, and so it would actually block my view of seeing the keyboard, and it made it so much harder because I had to have my hands at a weird angle to go around the mic, and it was all sorts of trouble. So I know those woes.
Yeah, just better work with the headset, man. It's so much easier. I just have a very standard headset, but at least my hands are free and I don't have to lean forward to talk. So that's good.
Indeed. And of course, thank you guys all very much for tuning in. We're getting game number 1 back underway. Unfortunately, we did have some technical problems in the first version of the game. Oh, interesting.
Interesting indeed. On the left side, we've got Ganon in white.
And on the right side, the current king of the hill from GGReplays.com, it is the red human, Zlex.
Again, bottom against bottom? Or top against top?
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I was thinking of, like, it's the same spawns in relation to the map, but because they are going to be on the bottom instead of the top, it's technically a little bit different. Now, the openers for both guys, for as far as scouting goes, is considerably better this game for ZxGanon.
Ooh, they both got killed.
Yeah, buddy.
It was close, though. I mean, the first shot was fired by Ganon, for sure.
Yeah, but because they've got that travel time, each of the shots has a little bit of weight before it impacts. Yeah, they were able to kill each other. Now, it's the exact same openers that we saw last game, and we know that Zlex, from on Tuesday, the first round of King of the Hill, we saw for sure that Zlex likes his double refinery openers, and it looks like ZxGanon, he's really liking the double refinery as well.
Well, it's pretty safe, yet aggressive build order. Lol, and Ganon just found the bug. You can see the Mother Goose exploding through the fog of war.
I mean, I guess that makes sense, because the player is out of the game in that point. If you can see the Mother Goose through the fog of war when they're not exploding, that's a bit more of a problem.
Indeed. Oh well. For now, we have to live with it.
Indeed. Now, on Grasslands, like we kind of talked about before, you've got this kind of expansion, which is, I'm comfortable calling this your natural expansion. You've got your 2 in-base catalyst pools, and then your natural expansion is basically pointing you directly at your opponent. And then we've got the outline expansions, which are quite rich, 13 pools in kind of the middle of the map. So we'll see if these guys decide to change it up. So far it's a mirror of last game.
Yeah, man, it's an exact copy. Well, I can make a bet for this. They will do exactly the same. We will see conduits going to their natural expansion, and from there it will be a little fight.
Yep, we might just see a big clash in the middle, kind of like, if you think about sometimes how Tournament Rift will turn into just like a one-lane kind of map, sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
This has the same sort of potential.
Oh,
now again, it's just lots of tridents coming out for ZxGanon.
Yeah, well, a different build order for him though. He played with 4 factories last game, just going for the third refinery now.
Indeed.
The same for Zlex.
Wow, so they're both changing it up the same way, because Zlex ended up going for 4 fac as well. Now, it looks like Zlex, he's scouting up north a little bit here. This could be, again, for that 13 pool. These 13 pools on... Man, when I say 13 pool, I only think of StarCraft. But yeah, he's going immediately for that 13. And if you're careful with your placement, you can get 5 13 extractors on each of these pools. So I don't know if we'll be seeing that kind of economy be established, but it certainly is helpful.
Well, this plus 13 can make a difference in my opinion. I mean, early game, you've got a little bit of extra money to build the extra extractor or the extra refinery. I mean, the extra factory. It's a little things that matter, and I think Zlex made a good decision by building the extractor right there.
Yeah, Zlex, again, he's going for kind of that same scouting pattern that we saw in the last game. Now, last game it was the double trident, and this game it's just the single trident. And for those of you who are just tuning in, you technically didn't miss anything because we had an unfortunate DC in game number 1, so we have to replay it because it was far from decided. But Zlex going in for kind of that mid-game, well, not quite mid-game scout, but that 5-minute scout.
Indeed. Just to know what he is up against. Is it fast tech? Is it eco? He definitely knows it's an eco build now.
Yeah. And with that plus 13, he's actually going to be outmined by his opponent once this second extractor finishes up on his opponent's natural. But Zlex has dropped down another extractor on kind of that outline expansion. So he's going to have plus 26 just from the outline expansion itself. And he can still, if he starts making some headway towards ZxGanon, he can still take his natural expansion quite easily.
He's coming in right now. Will he have enough? I don't think so, but we will see.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're just watching the war of the invisible units as they're both hidden in the brush.
Yeah, he goes back. Was to be expected that he would not have enough.
Yeah, and adding on the Heavy Sentinel as well for ZxGanon. He wants that extra bit of defense. Now, with this map, you've got the rocks, which are kind of your destructible debris on what are the north sides for each of these guys. Now, potentially, that'll end up being sniped down for some sort of counterattacks, although we may just see teleporters be used in favor of actual counterattacks.
Yeah, it would be funny, just teleporters over a little distance, but those
and then
a little
yeah,
distance
and then, like,
can make a
kill
huge
the
difference. Yeah, just kill everything, the entire HQ, win the game.
Yep. Now, Zlex adding on a third extractor. ZxGanon, again, he's going to be scouting way up north with that trident. And I don't know that he actually saw this little harassment force from Zlex, but Zlex is going to come in and try to snipe this extractor, and I don't know if the ZxGanon is actually reacting quick enough to stop this.
Oh, he has the advantage of the brushes here. I mean, it's a great position for Zlex to be in here.
Yeah, ZxGanon was able to push Zlex away, but he hasn't really defeated the threat. And now Zlex going to be coming forward again, just taking some pot shots off at these extractors.
And a fourth extractor being added to the 13 pool.
Ah. I don't know that he actually placed these correctly enough to get all 5, but this is going to be scouted. Yeah, this is going to be scouted by ZxGanon, so he's going to be like, oh, I'm currently sitting on like plus 40 economy a second, and Zlex has more than that just in this little pool.
Indeed.
Or just about. But yeah, that's once that last extractor finishes
going to
up
move in.
Zlex.
I'm not sure if Zlex has enough units near his base to defend this.
He should have a couple of anti-heavy sentinels, although
I think Ganon should go for the plus 13s.
Yeah, we'll see if Zlex is able to get his units out there in time. Ganon isn't quite gunning for it. He's kind of pausing by one of the outline expansion pools. I'm not actually sure. Okay, so ZxGanon, he's moving in now, but he's allowed Zlex to buy a lot of time, and of course, with his large factories coming online in a couple of moments, we'll have to see if Zlex has enough units to hold this off. He's got the brush advantage right now.
He has. Will it be enough? I don't think so. I think Ganon has more units than Zlex, but we will see. Oh, on the other side, Zlex moving in to the base of Ganon.
Oh, if he can snipe down some of these power conduits and really lock down the production of his opponent, then killing off some of this economy may not even matter very much for ZxGanon. He might actually lose this fight. It's going to be hard to tell. No, I think he's got just barely enough to overwhelm Zlex at Zlex's outline expansion, but Zlex has a lot of units. No, there's the heavy sentinel. He's going to be able to hold this off no problem.
Indeed. There's no way he can get out of here. Gladius is in the fight.
Yep, ZxGanon has bought enough time to build up some Gladiuses. If Zlex dives for it, he might be able to snipe off 1 or 2 of them, but he's in just such a bad situation.
In the meanwhile, the force that attacked his 13 pool got killed by his army, so he's fine there, but Ganon has a lot more units, so it seems. At least more tier 2 units.
Yeah, once you get up to that tier 2, you can really overwhelm your opponent. Now, Zlex is going to be scouting in. He's going to see, okay, so you've got the 13 as well, but it's not quite heavily saturated as mine is. I would like to see Zlex actually just take kind of his quote-unquote natural expansion, which is near him.
Well, If I was Zlex, I would just focus on units now. He has seen the force of Ganon. He knows he needs units now.
Yeah, he's moving out to the middle of the map. I think he wants to gain some sort of rush advantage and hope to gain the surprise over ZxGanon. I don't know that he'll actually be able to, but he is heading into the brush now.
The brush advantage is huge, but I doubt if it will be enough.
Yeah, now ZxGanon does actually have a scout, a monitor, inside of Zlex's base, but it doesn't look like he's got a teleporter just yet.
No, that's something for more late game. What both players really could use now are artillery units. The howitzer would do massive damage. I mean, so many tier 1 units. I mean, they would just devastate them.
Yep, Zlex, especially with his low-tech units, he's just going to get shredded. He needs to make sure that he doesn't let ZxGanon just get to that kind of critical mass of artillery. Now, ZxGanon, he's got 2 large factories. He's not really pumping too much out of them. He's getting that stealth and the artillery attachment, though. So soon, they will be online, they will be operational, and he's going to be starting to get some of that arty that we were talking about.
Big engagement in the bottom now.
Yeah, Zlex going to be moving in. Now it looks like the brush advantage may be going to ZxGanon for at least a little while. The Lancer's starting to get some nice shots off, eating up through the turrets as well. I don't know that Zlex has enough, though. There's plenty of Gladiuses on the back end of this army. It's hard to tell how many units are actually in the brush. I think Zlex is just being torn apart.
Yeah, it looks that way. More reinforcements coming from Ganon.
Yeah, he's got more and more Gladiuses just pumping onto the front lines. The Lancer goes down, and it looks like maybe a couple of Tridents will end up escaping, but either way, it may not be enough for Zlex to actually stop ZxGanon. The teleporter is on the way for Zlex. Now, maybe if you had some really crazy eco, we'd see multiple teleporters, but that's some crazy stuff. If you ever get to the point where you've got multiple teleporters, you know you're so far ahead.
Indeed, it's usually just when a human player is camping up or another player is camping up, then you have multiple teleporters, but in this game we will not see it happen. I'm actually not sure what Zlex can do, man. I mean, Ganon is way ahead in economy.
Yeah, Zlex made that tier 2 transition so late, and his production kicked in a lot later in terms of just full-time tier 2 production than Ganon. So Ganon has had so many more tier 2 units over Zlex. Zlex is going to be trying to come back in the same way that we saw him come back in some of the other King of the Hill events, which is, of course, harassing those worker lines and starting to put the pressure on multiple locations at once.
Well, it worked last game.
Yeah, it worked in the last series. He snipes one of the extractors, which is quite nice, ZxGanon. Unfortunately, he's not actually noticing, he's not reproducing it just yet.
He is also attacking the bottom.
Oh, he's moving in with Lancers, he's eating up turrets. If he can snipe down those extractors, that would also be pretty nice, just because that is still eco that ZxGanon has. Oh, he's gonna actually get the refineries. He snipes down one extremely quickly. ZxGanon is kind of late to the response, but now he does have the howitzers. They're going to start pounding on this army, but both of the refineries are down. This army, I mean, yeah, it may be taken out, but he's kind of crippled ZxGanon's future economy.
He did. I think they're on the same foot now. I don't think Zlex has many more.
I think if Zlex is able to play a little bit defensively, oh, his teleporter's done, he's the Lancer's back, but if he's able to play a little bit defensively, if he's able to hold the line and he doesn't lose a lot of his infrastructure, he definitely has an opportunity to come back. But I don't know if both of these players selected their entire armies and A-moved, I think ZxGanon would still win pretty handily.
Yeah,
so yeah, Zlex has to keep that in mind. He has to play a little bit careful, but we see he's going for that kind of patented move.
Yeah, but Ganon is prepared, man. Look at all those turrets.
Oh, yeah, and he's also going to be sniping down the monitors. Now, this also can be used to draw forces out of position. I don't know if we'll actually see that.
That would be nice, like kill the howitzers. I carefully place down Lancer drop. Would make a huge difference.
Yeah, he might also just be able to snipe off some, like extractors or refineries. Just getting over there and doing the economic damage might be enough, but yeah, Zlex definitely has to be